and it's also hard to win a game when you're getting no hit. So it's like you literally can't win in any of those scenarios.
No, like if that is not the most Rays thing ever, like you hear it all like, oh, that's so Mets. You know what's
Right.
Rays? Getting no hit by a dude making his debut.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
We are here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 7th season covering the Rays daily.
So go ahead, grab your favorite gear and settle in, because we have a lot to discuss on today's episode. Unfortunately, the Rays got swept at home by the Kansas City Royals. We'll discuss the impacts and meaning of that. Plus, Ulises, myself, and a couple of other people went to the Rays-Royals game on Wednesday, and we have some thoughts on that. So there we go. That's what we got going on the show today.
This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. I think right now, Rays Nation must feel just confounded. Like, who is this team? Like, who are they? Are they the 5-game winning streak Rays, or are they the ones that lose 8 out of their last 9 at home, Kevin? I don't know if you are leaning one way or the other right now.
Ups and downs. I'd rather it be a little bit more static, but I think that this is a 500-ish team, and that's what you get from a 500-ish team, where you go on a roll and then you come back down to earth, on a roll again, come back down to earth. So we were all excited and happy and ecstatic with the 5-game winning streak, and we knew that wasn't going to continue that much longer. But you would think that, hey, it's the Royals. You got some nice pitching matchups. You have a team in the Royals that have the worst offense in baseball, basically stat for stat. You should at least take one there, and that was not the case, unfortunately.
And you're at home. You're at home. And I know it's not home, but it is your home for the 2025 season. And it has been anything but a home field advantage for them. Reading some numbers, Kev, not only they've lost 8 out of their last 9 at the Stein after an 8-5 start, but now they're sitting at 9-13, right? And they have played 24 games out of 81. That's quick math, 29.6%. So 30% of your home games have gone bye-bye. And you are only 1 out of 5 teams with a losing record at home. You have to start changing this narrative. And I know that it must feel like maybe you're never home because it's not really your stadium. So there's also something to do with that. But you got to change something. I don't know what it is inside the locker room. That's for Cash and company to figure out. But my goodness, it really is a stark difference from coming back with such enthusiasm after that Arizona and San Diego series, and then you come back home and you just get whipped. Honestly, like that wasn't pretty.
Yeah, and I don't know where to start. Whether to start with what happened with Thursday's game or Wednesday's game, heck, Tuesday's game. All the games were not fun if you were a Tampa Bay Rays fan, and they all had their negatives one way or the other. I'll tell you this, that, when you have a Shane Baz that is not up to Shane Baz standards, it's hard to win a game that way. And it's also hard to win a game when you're getting no hit. So it's like you literally can't win in any of those scenarios.
No, and you're getting no hit by a guy making his MLB debut. Like, if that is not the most Rays thing ever, You know, like you hear it a lot, like, oh, that's so Mets. You know what's
Right.
Rays? Getting no hit by a dude making his debut, or by some dude that like nobody's ever heard of. Like that is the Rays thing. Unfortunately, being a weak offensive franchise has followed us for almost 30 years now. And with little blips of, oh my gosh, do we have an actual offense like 2021 or 2023? But it has just been, like you were saying, it's a 500-ish team. It so far, it really paints that way. They're 14 and 17, I know right now, but it's very similar to what we saw last year. You take 2 steps front, boom, 3 back. And it's that whole thing. And honestly, Kevin, you're really not getting a lot from the auxiliary parts right now in the lineup. And the big boys, who are supposed to be the big boys carrying the offense, they're going through extended slumps.
Yeah. You're really relying on Chandler Simpson, Cam Meisner, and Jonathan Aranda. Who would have had that on their bingo cards that on April 30th, May 1st, those would be your quote unquote heavy hitters leading into the season? And again, not to totally defend the Rays, but there are injuries at play. But every team in history of every sport deals with some modicum of injuries. I know it's bad for the Rays right now, but I would be willing to bet that there's teams that have it just as bad, if not worse. So we can't keep going to the well and using it as an excuse. However, you would hope and believe and think that something would change when Shane McClanahan is gearing up, when Ha-Seong Kim is gearing up, when Josh Lowe is gearing up. And at some point, Brandon Lau and Yandy Diaz have to pick it up as well. We know Yandy Diaz has picked up a little bit, but Brandon Lau, he's not quite Taylor Walls level, but the numbers are nosediving. I'll just leave it like that.
And we know he's an up and down guy, but batting 209 with a 566 OPS, I mean, you just can't have that from your big guy. I don't care if you're a cold streak, hot streak guy. That is just a line that you cannot be at. You can't be that guy. And I know that he's the person who's most frustrated about Brandon Lau's production right now is Brandon Lau. But as long as the numbers are there at the end of the season, cool. But you cannot have these droughts be that bad, man. You can. You're the guy, man. You've got that short porch. You're the lefty power hit. Like, it's up to you, man. I'm sorry.
Maybe it is just pressing of like, oh, I've got this short porch. I need to take advantage of it, and I really need to stroke it here instead of playing with his own game. And I think I would have to double check this. I do not have the numbers in front of me. Sorry, I didn't prepare well enough for this episode, but I think he has been somewhat of a slow starter over his career.
Usually,
Aprils are a little bit rough, and then wait for him to bat 380 or 400 in the month of May or June, something like that.
The issue, though, which, by the way, you're correct, but the issue is that, my man, the home games are right now. So that short porch, that is leaving June, July, August. You have got to capitalize, and that slow start is not going to do it. And you said something that gave me a little bit of worry, because it sounded a lot like last year. I remember when we were talking with Evan Kloski last year, we said, oh, they just have to keep being 500 at the end of April, and then reinforcements are going to come back. And then that standard move to, they just have to keep till May to 500, and then the reinforcements are going to come back.
Yeah.
You just said 2 minutes ago, well, Kim's going to come back and McClanahan's going to come back, and we're. I feel like what you said earlier is correct. This team is very much like a 500 team, like we witnessed last year. That's a big concern. Are they that same team?
It's starting to look like it. We've got much more to discuss, but first we have to tell the audience something important. Did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? You can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices with no console required, believe it or not. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign in to the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. So if you want the latest technology for elevated playing, if you want endless entertainment, and if you want affordable and portable gaming, well, go ahead and head over to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller is required. It is available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, which is the second generation, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, the first and second generation, and the Fire TV Cube, the third generation. All right. Yeah. So it's sunny times right now. And again, not to defend Shane Baz. I was working. I did not get a chance to watch the game. Sorry. But I will acknowledge the stat line. 5 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 7 earned runs, 3 walks, just 1 strikeout, gave up a homer. That boosts his ERA to 3.86, which is still good, but based on what we had been used to from Shane Baz, not so good. It's just, I don't know. Look, even the best pitchers in baseball are going to have an off game or a couple off games. It's what happens, and it was bound to happen at some point. Now you expect, okay, Shane Baz's off game might be 4 earned runs, 5 earned runs, but 7 earned runs, that's a little bit of a different level. And it's at home, and it's against the Royals, who we mentioned earlier this week, like one of, if not the worst offenses in baseball. It's basically the Bobby Witt show up to this point. So I don't know if it was a question of stamina, endurance, taking the opposition lightly. Maybe it's a combination thereof. Because not every start, again, you're going to have 100% of your stuff. Maybe you're feeling 80%. Maybe you're feeling 75%. But I would just like to see the comments and see the quotes as to what happened. Why did you blow it up there? Not to say that, even what's unfortunate about the situation is that even if Shane Baz pitches a gym and the bullpen does behind him, I mean, as the Rays showed in this series, they weren't going to score enough runs to win the game anyway.
That's the thing, though. Like, you can, even when they are like these starts are going to happen. Let's start with that, right? Like, there's the old adage: if you make 25 starts, you're going to have 5 that are terrific, 5 that are god awful, right? And then the rest 15, you're going to be like, okay, right in the middle, right? That's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. This is one of the 5 awful ones. But regarding stamina, he did blow up in the 5th and the 6th. So the heat, the humidity, when you're on the mound, that day game, that can get to you. So that's, I would say maybe that's a factor. And when was the last time that Shane Baz had to pitch in those conditions? So that's number 1. Mm-hmm. Number 2, the thing is with this offense is, if he's great, they're still not putting up enough runs to make a point, right, to get a W. And I know we exacerbated this point last week. They had 2 games, and that was 30% of their runs. We need to refresh those numbers, but it does seem like when they win, it's a big margin, and I think that's cushioning the overall numbers, because usually, Kev, we're seeing this kind of behavior: 2 runs, 3 runs, 1 run, shutout, almost getting no hit. While you buy a ticket to the Stein like we did on Wednesday evening.
Which, can I mention something about that? You mentioned that the Rays were almost no hit, or essentially didn't Noah Cameron give up a hit in the very last moment?
I think
he did end up giving a hit. He did get 6 1/3 for the Rays to eventually get a hit off of
Curtis Mead. Curtis Mead broke it up, I think.
Yeah. Congrats to him for the major accomplishment. He still has a lot of work to do offensively, which, by the way, just going back to that game, and we were talking about this during the game, but Noah Cameron with Kansas City, he walked 5 dudes during the course of that game. So there could have been a situation where the Rays won the game and were, essentially no hit. Of course, that's ultimately not what happened. But that, whenever I hear that, somebody is making their major league debut against the Rays, I shudder in fear. Because you should, as a Rays fan, I feel like we should never look at that as a positive of saying, the Rays are going to do work against that individual. I think it's just the opposite of they must not have a book on that guy, or they are overconfident about that guy. Whatever it is, it seems like when the Rays really get dominated offensively, it's like a guy that is making his debut, a guy that's somebody has never heard of, or a guy that's been like a crap pitcher his entire career that goes off that one start, i.e. Austin Voth from several years ago. And there was a guy earlier this year, I think with the Red Sox, I can't even remember his name. He was making a spot start and pitched a gym. And plus him being a lefty. I think being a lefty, that might be the catch-all there.
Well, that's something we need to talk about, because the lineup when a lefty's on the mound, it's been an issue, man. It's been an issue. The righty bats are not coming through. It does seem like Taylor Walls is hidden at every opportunity with men on base. It's like the baseball gods are just trolling us by this point. It's men on second and third, Taylor Walls. Men on first and second, 1 out, Taylor Walls. Bases loaded, Taylor Walls. It's like, what is happening here? Curtis Mead with the limited at bats he's gotten. Yeah, he broke up the no hitter on Wednesday. Yes, he got a pinch hit on Thursday's game, pinch hitting for Brendan Lau. But it's been rough for him, and we know why it's been rough for him. It's not talent. It's not any of that. It's the fact that this guy got daily at bats during spring training. He was mashing the ball, competition aside sometimes. But now he gets 5 at bats every 5 days? That's rough. That's rough for a baseball player, especially a young guy. And you don't start hot, confidence goes down. He's a human being. It's all that. But the righty bats really haven't helped the Rays at all right now.
No, it's unfortunate for sure. All right, we have more to discuss before we wrap this episode. But first, we need to tell you something important.
Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. It takes less than 5 minutes to get started, and it's a complete look at your financial well-being. It manages your money. You can start building wealth. It's fantastic. It gives you everything. It's not just a budgeting app. And today, you can get started and take control of your finances with Monarch Money using code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's right. Using code LOCKEDONMLB gets you 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com. Again, monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year.
Can I say something? After going to Wednesday's game, and it was a great environment, a lot of Royals fans, which I was a little bit surprised by, but they came out in force. Hey, they love their Bobby Witt Jr., they love their Vinny Pasquantino, they love their Salvi Perez, and I respect all that. The weather was great, the fireworks, the atmosphere, love the layout of the ballpark and watching baseball outdoors. Unfortunately, we watched the Rays on the field, and that, dimmered our hopes there. But I think in watching that game, we learned something critical. 2 things. One is that if Taylor Walls gets 2 at-bats and doesn't do anything productive in those 2 at-bats, he should be subbed out. I don't care what the circumstances are. B, or addendum to that, do not have, until Ha-Seong Kim is healthy and ready to go, do not have a situation where you can't sub in Jose Caballero for Taylor Walls. That's my position. So you can pinch it, say Cam Meisner for Taylor Walls or anybody else, Taylor Walls, except for maybe Ben Rourke. But do it to where you limit his at-bats as best as you can. And I know that we harp on Taylor Walls again a lot, and he's not the sole reason for the Rays' struggles, but it is getting to a point of like, you should just try to bunt every at bat, lean into one, just take pitches. Don't even swing the bat. Just take pitches, and we call it a win if you made it a 7-pitch at bat and got called out on strikes or something. I don't know.
I could not agree more. If Waltz is starting and he's gotten his 2 at bats, you cannot allow a 3rd and 4th. I am sorry. You're batting 155 and a 444 OPS. And before the Taylor Walls brigade comes here and says he's not the sole reason of why the offense, I understand that, but he ain't helping either. And I know that then you go, oh well, the base running and the walk rate and the glove especially, cool. Utilize that. I'm saying utilize that. I think, and you're saying it too. Utilize that for half of the game,
right?
And then after that, sub him out. And very good point. And I will say why it's a good point, because on Wednesday evening there was a situation where Caballero was playing right field, Walsh was playing shortstop. So in the same inning, Caballero and Walsh were going to hit. There's a great opportunity, right? Man on base. Aranda is subbed in for Caballero.
Right.
And then you're looking at the bench and saying, okay, who are they going to pinch hit for Walls? And then you realize no one, because no one can play shortstop.
Yeah.
Unless you go crazy and put Caminero there at shortstop, which is not going to happen. So essentially, you don't have a shortstop if you have Caballero and Walls in the lineup. You cannot
Caballero pinch for Caballero. You're screwed, basically.
You're screwed. So I think to add to your addendum there, to your law, let me put an amendment here. If you have a situation where you've started Caballero and Walls in the same lineup, you do not pinch hit for Caballero unless you've already pinch hit for Walls. Like, you have to pinch hit for Walls first. I will take Caballero at bat against a righty way more than anything against Taylor Walls. Anything against Taylor Walls. It's a lot to take as a fan to see 4 at bats in the year of our Lord 2025 from Taylor Walls. It's a lot to take, man. It's a lot.
It is. And I mean, I think that's, what the Rays did on Thursday. They had Caballero at short facing a righty and Seth Lugo. And yes, he went 0-4 and was at the bottom of the order. But and hey, if you want to start Caballero and sub in Taylor Walls for a defensive replacement this game, I'm fine with that. Just make sure it's a point where you're not going to see him at bat for a while. Or do it just where you limit it at bats at the end of the day. And hopefully this is all for naught when Kim returns, because there's a reason they're making him the highest paid player to play half a season.
And guess what? If this team was structured differently, and by differently, I mean like a little bit more offensively minded, then the Taylor Walsh would be fantastic, because now you have a guy that you can plug in basically everywhere, especially at shortstop, and you're like, nothing is going to get through that guy from the 7th inning on. That would be great. The issue is that this team cannot hold a Taylor Walsh, just like this team cannot hold a Brett Phillips. Yes. It couldn't. It could not. And we all know what Brett Phillips could do. He was a great runner, just like Walsh. He had a great glove, just like Walsh, but he had no bat. So we're essentially at the same spot.
Yeah.
And they let go of Brett Phillips. When is that decision going to happen? Because TikTok, man, Kim's coming, right?
It is. And unfortunately, the Rays, I mean, maybe it is better that they're going on the road to face the Yankees, because I feel like it wouldn't be much better. It might be worse if they play the Yankees at the Stein for a 3-game set. So maybe this will light a little bit of a fire into them for the 3-game series. I'll tell you what, the best chance for the Rays to win a ball game is Saturday or Sunday, not Friday when Max Fried is dishing. I'll just leave it at that. So you got to, get your runs while you can against Schmidt or Warren. And then, Littell and Bradley are on the mound. So who knows what's going to happen with all that. But who knows? They can surprise us. They surprised us before. They surprised us when they were in San Diego, in Arizona. So it is possible. It can happen. But I think we're learning that for one reason or another, they do not play well at Steinbrenner Field. And I guess luckily this will be a 1-year experiment, and they will not play there again, unless they want to take up my offer of doing a split city scenario, half your games at the Trop, half your games at Steinbrenner. That might be another discussion for later, but I'll leave it at that. In the meantime, hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts.